So some fun facts. This is Josh Margolin's first film. He wrote and edited it. It was an homage to his grandmother, who he has a very close relationship with. And he also, as you can probably tell from the film, he has a great love of action movies. And so he kind of wanted to do something that would combine the thing. And the impetus for the film was that his grandmother did get that kind of call from somebody claiming to be the grandson and everything. And fortunately, they were able to head it off at the pass, so to speak. But he started wondering what would happen if she had actually lost the money. Being a filmmaker, this is kind of where his mind goes. He wanted to do something that was an action film, but not so broad, and he wanted to show aging that didn't kind of fall into parody, because so many of the films that we see about older people kind of treat older people as ridiculous and you know, frail and silly, and he just didn't want to get into that kind of thing. So I'd love to hear from so many of you about what you're thinking about with this film. Anybody? I'm thinking maybe some of the issues of independence versus needing help, you know, would resonate with a lot of people, and that's kind of where Age Friendly comes in too, because that's some of the issues. So those are some of the kinds of issues that we deal with.
Yeah, definitely. So with Age Friendly Teaneck, we're an initiative right here in Teaneck, and the idea is we want older adults to feel welcomed in the community and as independent as possible. Certainly as a geriatric social worker, I come across stories like Thelma where they are happening to people in real life, but we need to make sure we're empowering them, but also ensuring that they know about the different scams and frauds that are out there.
Maybe you can talk about some of the kinds of programs that we've been doing, especially with 1425 Teaneck Road.
Yes, definitely. So with Age Friendly Teaneck, we do have an offshoot program called Senior Checks, and we're available to service anyone who's age 60 and older and living in Bergen County. So if there's anyone who is seeing piles of mail building up on their tables, especially now during Medicare open enrollment, and they need maybe a second pair of eyes and ears, helping them look through that, then we're happy to help people. We have trained and vetted volunteers. But one of the things that we do recognize with our Senior Checks Money Management Program is a lot of scams, a lot of fraud that happens, or even just sometimes people recognize, or I'm sorry, they're not recognizing that when they did make a donation, they had thought it was a one-time donation, but we're seeing a recurring or regular you know, credit coming out of their account. So just something to be mindful of if there is anyone who is wanting that extra pair as they maintain their independence. We certainly don't help, we don't take over anyone's finances. We just want to help people so that they can really feel strong about the decisions they're making. But one of the things that we really love doing with Age Friendly Teaneck is we do have a new building at 1425 Teaneck Road, and we're building that as our Age Friendly Teaneck Community Center. It's our hub where we're going to be doing a lot of programming. We did a soft opening in October, and we just had a ribbon cutting earlier this past Friday, or maybe 2 Fridays ago. I'm losing track. But I do want to say we have a lot of programming regarding scams and fraud. We have Teaneck Police coming. We have a lot of banks coming over because banks are recognizing that all the time. And so we want people to know that they are supporters. And if you don't do it with cash, certainly the banks can help you maybe even get that money back. And we've helped people do that a number of times. So I want people to be aware of that.
One of the things that Age Friendly is working on now too is we're trying to build more intergenerational activities between, you know, younger people and some of the older residents. And you know, one of the things that I particularly liked about this film was the relationship between the grandson and the grandmother. You know, obviously they had a really close relationship. And in fact, a lot of the dialogue was based on conversations that Josh Margolin has had with his grandmother, as you could see in the sort of epilogue at the end of the film. So one of the things that we do that I'm particularly proud of is the internship. We have an internship for 4 high school students who are Teaneck residents every summer for 4 weeks, and a lot of what they do has to do with, spending time with older folks, being involved in various and sundry activities, and helping them with their devices, doing parties and dancing and like
Bridging
that.
the digital divide, as we call that.
Yeah, because one of the things that we're focused on also is just trying to break through the stereotypes that people have about aging. So maybe you can talk about some of the other kinds of programming that's underway.
Yeah, a lot of the themes I was seeing underlined with this movie, between scams and frauds, of course, ageism, that's the ism that sometimes society can't accept, which is unfortunate. We want to make sure that the value of older adults is seen. And of course, the intergenerational relationships, I really love that, and that really, really resonated with all the things. So with Age Friendly Teaneck, we are having a lot of in-person programming. We also do some online programming. We had done during the during the COVID era, we were doing Zoom calls, or and so we try to record all of our programming so that people can see it. We want to make sure that we're having hybrid programming, so as things are moving in person, we're having online options as well. But something that we did do during the COVID era was we recorded some programs that taught people how to go to our Teaneck Council meetings, how to use the library card, how to use the different options that the library can offer, and making sure that people are viewing that, because during COVID, everyone was moving to Zoom, but you don't know how to go on Zoom if you've never used it before. And so we did connect with the Teaneck Public Access Channel, and TV is the technology that people are familiar with. So if they tuned into the local Teaneck station, they were able to view some of the episodes that we were recording to teach people how to use the digital world, because I thought that was amazing, the way they were using some of the things, connecting a hearing aid to the phone so that people can hear them better, making sure that they're really aiming at some of the great things that technology can do, but then obviously some of the awful things that it can connect people to. And so making sure that that balance is really seen, and that we're helping people recognize the differences between that. When the grandson was telling her about clicking the X, and it's not always going to be an obvious X, but you have to find it, and it's going to be there, whether it's a little X or it says the word close on there.
I'm just wondering if any parts of the movie kind of resonated with you.
I think I see a hand back there.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, we have a microphone coming to you.
Hi. No, this was really a touching movie and resonated very, very strongly with me in particular. Something that occurred today where my mom, I'll just share briefly, she fell about 8 days ago and didn't want to call me, she didn't want to worry me. And I'm an only child and I'm a nurse. And I was so angry, more frustrated, like, she didn't want to bother me. And that's so, I'm still trying to deal with my reaction to it more than that she injured herself. And it's very, very difficult. I feel like I need a guidebook on how to deal with having a parent who is older, functional with it, yet not that kind of fading. And I think this film was just so apropos, especially what's going on in my own life today. And I wanted to ask you, you said you service Bergen County?
Yes, with our senior checks program.
Is there, who funds you? I'm just curious.
Bergen County Division of Senior Services is one of our major funders. Yes.
Okay. And do you offer transportation at all? Are there options to bring people to 425 for your programming?
We do not provide any transportation, but we do connect them to the Bergen County transportation. I recognize, some people may have some great things to say about their department and unit, but maybe some others not.
Okay.
But there's a really great one right now. They have a program called Ride Connect, where any senior in Bergen County, as long as they're traveling within Bergen County lines, so it can be Teaneck to Westwood or Washington Township down to Garfield, it's a free Uber or Lyft ride to anyone who calls in on that. And so that I think people seem to love because it's door to door and it's ready at their whim.
Wow, I'd love some information, and I'd like your contact information too.
Yes, of course, I can share that with anybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, thanks. It was a really lovely film, and it was very touching how the older people wanted to be independent, but the sandwich generation wasn't letting them, and the parents in the film were infantilizing their 24-year-old son just as they were infantilizing the grandmother, Thelma, and it really came through when the father put the watch on the kid, just the way the kid would put, the grandson had put the watch on the grandmother. And they were just kind of modeling this very helicopter parenting, controlling kind of, detrimental, but well-meaning sort of behavior, because the woman Thelma just wanted to be an independent person. It was really touching when she said she went straight from her parents' house to her husband's house and had only lived 2 years on her own, and she was appreciating that. And her kids didn't seem to really grasp that at all. They were well-meaning, but really overprotective.
No.
It's funny, my father, he's in his late 70s, and he was saying that as a young parent, there are a lot of books out there for preparing, what to expect when you're expecting, right? Or other books like that for young parents. But there's not a lot of books out there for raising adult children and how to treat them with the independence. And then when he was going through, and he was a sandwich generation, and just recognizing the control that he was used to having over certain things in his life, and just getting used to letting that go and having peace at least with his adult children, that he raised them properly, that maybe they can make decisions. But then with some of the people in his lives who he was trying to become a caregiver to, recognizing that they were the ones to care for him, and that there just needs to be a two-way street, that conversation. I think people just keep thinking that they know better, but if there's not that conversation and that communication, then how is it going to be?
Yeah, obviously it's a whole issue of trying to keep in communication and like that. I mean, our children may be concerned about our health and our age, and are we okay, and are we able to do this, that, and the other thing, and they don't understand when we get annoyed because, inside we think that we're just the same age as they are, right? And, we want to remain independent. We don't want to ask for help. And there's this constant seesawing between those kinds of things. And I think one of the film's great strengths too is that it showed that the whole aging process is not just a question for the older folks, but it's a family dynamic that's constantly evolving.
Yeah. And if there isn't a family with you, it's a community dynamic. The people who are with you, and friends like Ben, right, for Thelma, who are aging with her, but are going through his own challenges as well. One of the things that struck me was when Ben was telling Thelma how we are older, we're diminished, we are a liability to our family, and that just hurt my heart, because those are the things we don't want our older adults that we talk to feeling those ways, right? And so I think we just need to ensure that as we're talking with family members who are maybe trying to care for their older adults, they're not using that language with them, and maybe, as they're coming to grips, as our first, question asker asked, with how to really feel those feelings of making sure that we're doing the right things within as their family member and loved one, but that we're also maintaining, you know, the things that give them pride and dignity and what makes them move forward in their life, what gives them the motivation to keep waking up.
Fortunately, there's a lot more attention being paid to the whole aging process, and you know, there are a lot of great resources available on the Age Friendly Teaneck website, which is agefriendlyteaneck.org, if you want to check it out. So with that, I think if nobody else has any kind of questions, comments, observations, that's about it for Thelma. And see you next year at the Film Festival.
Have a great evening, everyone.